Hey, everybody, and welcome to Grateful Gratitude. My name is Kris Gross. I'm from Frito Nation Productions. Also from Frito Nation Productions is Frito himself.
That's me.
Mark Friedman, and we are alongside LoLo Roberts. And I got to tell a little story before we get into today's topic, because it's, I guess, kind of out of my ignorance that we're discussing this here today. But we were gathered this week, Tuesday morning, at our networking event, Tuesday Morning Vibe, put on by the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce, which has been just a great opportunity for all of us to be at and to meet and network with some really great people. But I overheard Lolo talking to somebody and was talking about her name, Lolo. And she said, that's what her grandson calls her. And I said, oh, does he call you that because that's your name? And I didn't know where the name Lolo came from, and she gave me a teaser of the story. So let's get into it now, Lolo. Where does your name Lolo come from?
Well, thank you, Kris, for bringing this up, because there are a lot of people that'll call me Laurie because they've known me a long, long time. And Lolo only came around 3 years ago when the ministry started. And it's kind of a tough story to talk about, but it's a very important story. So in 2017, which was a year before I started my ministry, my daughter Lexi and her now husband, Ty, in May, they had so many life changes that happened. So let me just set that up for you first. So on one Friday, my son-in-law, Ty, retired from gymnastics, which he had done since he was 3 years old. He was at OU for gymnastics. And so he retired one Friday. The next Friday, he took his final exams. The next week, he graduated from OU. And Lexi was working this whole time up there, living with Ty. And the following week after he graduated, they got married. They left on Sunday, after that Friday, on Sunday to go to Cancun for their honeymoon. Lexi got violently ill down there. And when they came back on the following Friday, 2 days later, she found out she was pregnant. They wanted to try to have a baby right away because that was their dream. So she found out she was pregnant. That was on a Sunday night. The next day, they moved back here to Dallas area. So they've had, all these life changes so far. The following Friday, we had a family member who was 34 pass away of a brain tumor. And then she had decided that since she was pregnant, she was no longer going to take her Vyvanse or her medication for her ADD. And within about 6 weeks' time, she totally was, she was very disabled, and she was debilitated. She, without the medication, she got to a place that she struggled with OCD and anxiety, and her world kind of came crashing down. And it was a situation that she couldn't function. She couldn't sleep. So just think of a person running who's pregnant with hormones, not sleeping, and being very OCD. And she was going to networking events. As a matter of fact, Mark, that's when you met Lexi, was when she was really in the throes of this.
I remember.
And so about 3 weeks of trying to balance this with her being with me all day and her husband caring for her at night, it all came to a head. And Lexi said to me, her birthday was in about 3 weeks' time from the day she said this to me. She said, I just don't know if I'm going to make it to my 23rd birthday. And the first thing as a mother that you think about is, my child is suicidal. And it truly wasn't that she was suicidal. It was just the OCD and anxiety had taken over her life. And she got it in her mind that if she didn't do things exactly right and do them 3 times, she would die. And I had no idea that OCD caused that until we came to this point. And it would be like she would say, I want Chick-fil-A. And I'd say, okay. So we'd drive through and get Chick-fil-A. And as I'd pull away, she'd look at me and go, Mom, we got to go through again. We got to do this again. And I lived day to day with her doing this, as well as her husband at night. So everything was a three. And we had to get her treatment. And every night when I would deliver her back to Ty, I would sit on my patio praying and saying to God, I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why we're going through this, but I'm trusting in you to bring her out of it. I'm trusting in you not to take my daughter at this time. So during this process, since she was pregnant, she said to me, what's your grandma name going to be? And I said, Lolo. And I said, I think it'll be easy for Levi, because he was already known to be a boy and have a name, will be able to say that. And so every night that I prayed, I just said to God, bring us through this, bring us through this, let us know what we need to do. So long and short of that is she did get treatment, and they got her medicine regulated. And her birthday was August 10th. And so about August 28th, she started kind of getting the medicine took hold. She was doing better. And then September 11th, she got a phone call that her dad, her biological dad, who was 55 years old, had died. And Ty called me and said, Lexi's dad died. And so I said, Wes and I are on our way. We'll be right there. And when we got there, Lexi was on the couch sobbing, but yet she had some kind of relief on her face. Like maybe some of this was behind her. And to me, it was really kind of a turning point where I thought it would be another disaster point. And so we walked through that walk. And then January 5th, Levi was born. He was born early, a month early, and healthy. And Lolo was truly an effect at that time. And so every time someone says Lolo to me, not only does it make me think of Levi, but it makes me think of that dark, dark, terrible walk that we came through, that God blessed us to get through it and stood with us to get through it. So if I hear Lolo, it just brings my heart back to God.
That's so awesome, and I love that part of it is, obviously you get attached to it because of Levi, your grandson, and then I see how much you can get attached to grandparent names because of the grandparents of my daughter. But I just love, Lolo, that you continue to point it back to God, and I think that's so amazing. I find these kind of stories, just being honest, probably one of the biggest testimonies that anybody can have. Because if it was me in that situation, I probably would have turned away from God a long time ago. But the fact that you can go through all of that, and in the end, instead of saying, "Look at all that God did to me," why would a good God do something like this? The fact that you can look back on it and say, "This is a testament to how God got us through this," I think is just, I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. I didn't like that walk,
Yeah.
but I won't forget that walk. And honestly, when I'm reminded, when I hear Lolo, or um, it just reinforces that when we are without, or we feel he's not there, we just have to hang on, and we have to pray and know that he's there, and know that it's his will and plan. And we all have stories like this, all of us. But I'm glad that this opportunity came up, because it gives me the opportunity to share the story again.
And you know what I think is so special too is that um, Levi, one day when he can understand, he's going to ask you where the name came from.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get to explain to him about these difficulties that they had. And one, you get to explain the love that his parents and that you have for him. But then you get to just have a conversation about Jesus. And it's all because of your name and what he calls you. And I think that's something that can be so special.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And You know, like I said, everybody's got a story, everybody's got a walk. And if we use those tough times that we come through as part of our ministry to help others, you know, I recognize that God took me through that for a reason. And I recognize how there's a lot of people with OCD and anxiety that I wouldn't know because my own daughter, I wouldn't say she hid it from me, but I didn't recognize it in her. And so maybe we all can open our eyes a little bit more to some mental issues that are happening around us.
Yeah, amen.
So, well, there you have it. Now you know the story. And again, thank you for sharing your time with me, and you guys always being there to keep me righteous and keep me on track, and calling me out if I need to be called out. But thanks again, guys, and we will see everybody soon again.
Thank you.